Hi guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt Hull and I'm currently studying in seminary so that I can actually be a missionary in the country of Albania. So as you might have guessed, today I actually am going to talk about an idol that has been a struggle for my life for the majority of it. Just for today, you're actually going to have to use your imagination a little bit. You're going to have to think about the 90s. So for some of you, you might not have been born in the 90s. But I want you to kind of get in the mindset of what that was like. So I'm going to just talk about a few things that I grew up around. Basketball in the 1995 through 98 time where Michael Jordan was on the three-peat with Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. That was a big part of my life thinking back. Another big part of my life actually was Christmas around that time. That was actually the year that I received the greatest gift on Christmas that I've ever received in my life. For me, that was the Super Nintendo. It came out in 1991. I didn't get it until later because I was born in '89, so I couldn't really play at the age of 2. But what it brought into my life was Mario Kart and Super Mario World. So my dad and I would play that almost every single night. And it really brought me into this different world where I could hit people with turtle shells and set traps with banana peels. So that was just a great experience that my dad and I shared. But as I grew up, I decided there were other games I wanted to play. I kind of got bored with Mario, so I branched out a little bit. So later on in the same decade, the Nintendo 64 came out. And with that came more games and more time that I was able to spend just playing video games with my dad. So it started out as just a great fellowship time that we could share together. But eventually I started playing games by myself and seeing that there was a lot of enjoyment that could come from just spending an indefinite amount of time playing games. So I really found that was a source of joy and just pride building that I could find. So this continued for several years. I enjoyed several different types of video games, several different gaming systems that spanned from my elementary school days until even my time during college. And along with that came the desire to be around people that also enjoyed video games. So I gathered a lot of friends around that would constantly talk about them. Some of the things that I would even schedule were launch dates of games so that I could plan out when they were coming and when I could enjoy those things. It even got so bad that I would skip the next day of school just to enjoy the game for the entire day. So this was definitely an area that it had started out in a very nice fellowship time with my dad and then grew into almost a life-dominating, schedule-dominating, just idol. So some of you may not be able to relate to this as much, the idea of video games, but for you it could be something different. It could be a relationship. It could be a girl or a boy that you constantly talk about, you constantly think about. It could be sports. You could know every stat of every player on your favorite team, and you'd never miss watching a single game. So it can constantly take over your life and constantly dominate your conversations, and it really will show who you surround yourself with. You even sometimes go to bed thinking about it. For me, the idol was video games. I enjoyed them. I spent so much time on them. And I could name all 150 Pokemon when I was in junior high, but I couldn't tell you 20 of our presidents. I still can't, honestly. My lack of discipline in this one area was characteristic of my life as a whole. So in college, when I went to different parties, to different events, while I should have been able to defend myself against temptations, I had no defense. I was constantly just open to problem areas. So like Josh, I involved myself in partying and enjoyed things illegally that I should not have, and this got me into a lot of trouble. So I'm very thankful for that time in my life that God used discipline, loving discipline, to bring me back to Himself. So as I was undergoing this discipline, I was told that I had to do mandatory community service hours, and I served those hours at our community center. And at that same time, I had people that were surrounding me that shared the love of Christ. And through that, I began to recognize that maybe the idols I'd been serving, the things that I thought that were better than Christ, were actually horrible, worthless, disgusting wastes of time. So as I served, as I continued to serve and be around people that actually loved the way that God tells us to love, it began to grow in me a desire to put away all these idols, to start serving the one true God. And as I grew in this area, my hours were actually completed. I did not have to serve anymore, but I decided to continue anyways. So I continued serving at the community center, and I've still done that now. So I started serving in 2009, and 6 years later, I'm still doing the same things that I did when I started. And serving at the community center can be different. It can show lots of different areas that need to be cleaned or taken care of. So this ranges from cleaning a bathroom, cleaning the toilets, to taking hair out of showers, to throwing out trash. It also branched out into my personal life while in college. I decided that I wanted to serve leading Bible studies, standing around on campus at a booth proclaiming the gospel while people mocked you, while they said that what you're telling us is wrong. So it really showed me that serving, that being Christ-like was far better than serving the idol of video games. So I grew in knowing that Jesus is better than anything else. So for you guys, you might be thinking the same things, and you may not even know it. The best way that you can tell, am I serving an idol that's not Christ, is what am I doing during this month or this week? What have I spent the most time talking about? What is the first topic of conversation that I bring up? What are the things that I'm looking forward to? How do I schedule my time? If that's not around serving, Bible studies, class time, being in the Word of God, then you might be serving an idol, and you need to think about that. That's a big deal. It's not just a small conversation. That's something that you really need to work on your heart and ask for accountability and seek people that will be willing to share the love of Christ with you daily. For me, it took getting into a bad situation to realize I'm dedicating my life to something that's not worth it. And for you, you may be doing a lot of good things. You may be serving, you may be on the community trips, you may be going to Lincoln to help out with the kids. But if that's just one area of your life, if that's just a compartmentalized section of what you are really doing on a daily basis, then you might want to think, how can I start serving God and getting rid of these idols? How can I really start to, in my life, show Jesus is better than anything else? For me, it took a life of pursuing wrong things in order to figure out Jesus is better than anything else.